Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I feel a lot better than I did. That is
Uh,
for sure.
Lots of stuff going around.
Yeah, my husband had it a few days before I got it. So I pretty much assumed I would get it. But it was
We
not
like to
fun.
share.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Sharing is
Uh,
caring. Like, dude.
You say sharing is caring?
Yeah.
that's good.
Oh,
John, did you enjoy Essex?
I did. It was awesome. We went to the Griswold Inn, walked around the downtown area there. Always so beautiful. And the decorations for Halloween were out so it was a lot of fun. And my brother's in visiting, so he enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, I've never been, but I heard they go all out for, very classic Christmas decorations. So maybe we'll have to try to make it down there.
If you do get your tickets soon, I heard they sell out for Christmas trips.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
can't
they
just go down and you can't just go down and walk around?
Oh, that you can, but if
yeah,
you want to take like the steam train
train.
with
I
like
Yeah,
know,
Santa and
yeah,
stuff, yeah, those
yeah,
fill up.
yeah. So that would be good. Sharon, it's exciting to see you again. I said to have you twice in a row. What a special treat.
I had fun last week at the Spooky, and Mary, your costume was just unbelievable. I was telling everybody all about it.
Thank you, thank you. I just packed it up yesterday and getting it put away for the next time. I wear that for our churches, Forest of Fear. And can you imagine? They earned $134,000 for the church and school by scaring people. It's amazing. I think they said they had 5,570 or something, almost close to 6,000 people go through for the 6 weekend days,
yeah.
nights. Amazing.
So much for the Holy Ghost being scary.
Oh, I know, I know. So
And
that's what,
it is 2 minutes past noon, and our Toastmaster has arrived. Our president is not going to be available for to open the meeting, so I will do that in his absence. And looks like we are all accounted for. We have John, who will be giving his icebreaker speech. I think we do not have any roles that have to be filled in as a result of, oh, we don't have a speaker number 2, but that's okay. We won't ask for that. It looks like our roles are filled. We have a notice from a couple emails from Paul Sornick about events coming up. Maybe Sharon can talk to us about that later. One we missed last night, which I didn't know about till kind of late. And then there's officer training. So with that, Jean, I welcome you as our Toastmaster. Oh, this is better than Halloween. Just kind of stay in suspense. Jean, are you able to hear me? Yes. Have you said anything yet?
No, I have not. I've been trying to get my audio set up here in the car. I'm ready now.
All right. So you have been introduced as our Toastmaster. You're allowed to take over.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to Barnum Square Toastmasters for November 4th, 2025. Hard to believe we're that far into the year already. I have the meeting agenda here. Let me pull it up. I had the meeting agenda. My app reset. Anyway, all right. So can you hear me? Okay. Do we have a timer, or do you want me to do timer? So
I believe Neil volunteered to be timer.
okay, very good. Thank you, Neil. And I'm the Toastmaster. The odd grammarian is Linda. The word master, I guess, is also Linda. I see a word floating above her shoulder. Thought of the day. Do we have a thought? All right, we'll come back. Speaker one is.
Wait a minute. Neil has a thought.
Okay, go ahead, Neil. Well, go ahead. Let's finish the agenda. So the speaker number one is John. The general evaluator is Mary Consoli. She will also serve as John's speech evaluator. And now we'll return and go to the actual execution of the agenda. That is, let's start with the word for today. Linda.
The word of the day is brouhaha. And you may say it with me, brouhaha.
Brouhaha.
Brouhaha could also be similar words would be, see if I can duck enough, would be uproar or hubbub or can't even read my own screen, hullabaloo, kerfuffle. It is a thing that creates something that is a brouhaha, which for me always seemed like a good witchy thing to do on Halloween, is to do something that would be a brouhaha. Think of brew. However, it sometimes happens in politics. Somebody will say something or do something, and next thing you know, there's a big brouhaha. Brouhaha can happen in Toastmasters. We can become excited or offended about some event. So just for fun, we will have the word today, brouhaha.
Thank you, Linda. Brouhaha can also be an argy-bargy. That's another interesting term. Let's go to our thought of the day, Neil. You're muted, Neil.
Good catch. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Here is some history and a related bit of wisdom. The famous Scopes trial took place in Dayton, Tennessee, 1925. John Scopes was a high school science teacher. He was prosecuted for going against Tennessee state law because he taught evolution. Clarence Darrow was the defense attorney. H.L. Mencken, American journalist, essayist, satirist, and critic of American culture, attended the trial. Mencken persuaded Darrow to go after William Jennings Bryan, the Christian fundamentalist prosecutor, to make him look ridiculous by debunking his literal interpretation of the Bible. It was Mencken who dubbed it the monkey trial. Innocent until proven guilty? Not in Dayton, Tennessee. Even before the trial, the citizens of Dayton immediately insisted that Scopes was guilty and demanded that he be removed as a teacher. Now this related bit of wisdom from H.L. Mencken. Every problem has an easy, obvious solution, and it's always wrong. Scopes' guilt was the easiest, obvious solution. When everyone immediately leaps to what seems to be the obvious solution, or when all in unison, spontaneous shout, yeah, let's do it, A red flag should go up. Someone should say, wait, we're not giving it enough thought. We're not looking deep enough. Regarding controversy in general, not necessarily with relation to a trial, it's essential to discuss and debate. Even if no solution is reached, it's better to debate without settling than to settle without debating, because debate exchanges ideas, opens people's minds. When there are two widely held but opposing points of view, it means people are thinking. Solution or not, we learn from each other. And sometimes we leave the debate saying, I never thought of it that way. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Neil. I was on a trial about 20 years ago for what's infamously called the Barton Creek rapist here in Austin. And we found the guy guilty in 15 minutes because the DNA evidence was overwhelming. So then we had to decide whether or not to issue the death penalty. And the first vote was 9-3 to issue the death penalty. It has to be unanimous, though. Then we did another vote. It was 10-2. And as you're saying, the reason I did not vote initially was I think we needed to kick this around a bit. We needed to talk about it. I felt the guy probably deserved the death penalty based on the law in Texas. He definitely deserved it. But I said, I just want to kick it around a little bit. So I was the only guy who spoke up and said, I'm one of the people voting no at this point, but I'm not opposed to changing my vote. And we did exactly what you said. We kicked it around. People made some very interesting arguments on both sides, and it was very interesting. Anyway, Nick's life experience related to what Neil just talked. Go ahead.
I'm reminded of the movie 12 Angry Men, which is about just that type of debate in a trial. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Outstanding film.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, it's time now for our speaker for today, John Carter. Do we have your intro there, John, in your on the website?
John may not have known that was his job.
Okay. I added to the speech information. Is that where I'm supposed to? Maybe I put it in the wrong spot.
There is a place. I sent this out in the email that in the speech introduction includes the introduction of the speaker, and there is a link you can click right there that talks about what goes into the speech introduction. One of the things I was advised back in with another organization was if you don't give the speaker the introduction, you're going to get whatever they make up out of their head. They may or may not have done research, and it may not be something that applies to your speech. So it would be wise, if you want to control your audience's experience, that you give the MC a wonderful introduction that will cause the audience to resonate with you, to respect you, and to be curious about what you're going to say.
All right. Well, I will say that John is our newest member. He's beginning his Pathways journey. He has shown very good competence for a new member, and we're very impressed. So, John, with that, take it away.
John, time, please.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. You know that person at work who's absolutely brilliant at what they do, the engineer who can solve any technical problem, the accountant who knows the tax code like the back of their hand, the IT wizard who can fix anything with 3 keystrokes. Then they get promoted to manager. And suddenly, it's like watching a penguin try to fly. Lots of flapping, not much altitude, and everyone's a little concerned. I've been that penguin. My name is John Carter, and after 30 years as a captain in the United States Navy, I thought I had this leadership thing figured out. Then I retired and became head of manufacturing in the corporate world. Turns out leading sailors and leading civilians are, let's say, slightly different. In the Navy, when I said jump, people asked how high. In manufacturing, they asked why, followed by, Can we schedule a meeting about it? Or did you fill out the proper form? It was humbling and eye-opening, and it taught me the fundamental truth. The skills that make you a great expert are not the same skills that make you a great leader. Being the smartest person in the room doesn't automatically mean people want to follow you. Sometimes it means that you get to eat lunch alone. That's why I found Leadership Bridge Institute. We help new and mid-level managers survive and actually thrive. In that terrifying transition from, am I really good at my job, to, wait, now I'm responsible for other people being good at their jobs, we tackle the challenges that keep new leaders up at night. The sweaty palm moments before a difficult conversation, the complete lack of playbook for leading humans, and my personal favorite, the realization that you can't just do everything yourself anymore because there's only 24 hours in the day and your spouse would actually like to see you occasionally. At the heart of our approach is the bridge method. No, it's not about building actual bridges, but some days that might actually be easier. It's a 4-step framework that transforms technical experts into confident leaders. First step, we assess. We figure out what's actually keeping you up at night. Spoiler alert, it's usually not what you think. Step 2, we train. We teach you practical leadership skills through live workshops, real scenarios, real solutions, and no trust falls required. Step 3, we perform. You practice in the real world with our support. Think of us as your leadership training wheels. We help you until you're ready to ride solo. And then finally, we review. Join the community of fellow leaders who get it, because misery loves company, but so does success. We offer programs. Our 4-week Leadership Foundations course, perfect for that I just got promoted help, to our 12-week Leadership Mastery program for senior leaders who want to stop feeling like an imposter at the executive table. We even have a career transition program featuring our trademark 400-to-1 formula. And no, that's not a cocktail recipe. Those job searching can make you feel like you need one. And here's my favorite part. We offer a 90-day confidence guarantee. If you are not more confident in your leadership after working with us, we'll keep coaching you one-on-one until you do so at no extra cost. Because we're either really confident in our program or we're terrible at business. So over my 36 years of leadership experience, 30 in the Navy and 6 in manufacturing, I've guided hundreds of leaders through these transitions. And we're proud of our 4.9 out of 5-star rating. That missing 0.1 star, you might ask? Probably someone who wanted us to do a trust fall. So if you know a brilliant expert who's drowning in their new leadership role, or if you're that expert and you're currently Googling how to unaccept my promotion, don't. Instead, visit us at Leadership Bridge Institute. Take our free assessment or schedule a virtual coffee with me. I promise no PowerPoints. Remember, your expert skills got you here. Your leadership skills will get you there. And if all else fails, at least you'll have some good stories for Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Very interesting. And yes, I have seen that the Peter Principle, where someone is promoted one level above their competency. That's an interesting phenomenon, and different environments require different leadership styles. They're very interesting, very encouraging. Next up is table topics. And who's our table topic master? Julia, very good. Hand it over to you, Julia.
Thank you, Jean. So last week I was sick. And we're not talking a cold or cramps or just feeling blah. We're talking all out, spent the night in the bathroom, sick. I I hope I did not create a big brouhaha by missing out on the open house. But Tuesday, I was in the dark sleeping all day long. Wednesday, I was sleeping all day long. Thursday, I got up, tried to do some of my homework, started reading, and then slept all night long. Friday, Saturday, ugh, 20% better, 30% better. And it made me realize how much time I actually don't spend sick. I'm usually pretty healthy. And it also made me reflect back on how different it was when we were little and sick, when mom or dad would take care of us and make sure we had everything, and how when you're in college, all of a sudden, if you get sick, you're on your own, and how do you handle that? And then once you're a parent, not about your kids getting sick, when you're a parent and you get sick, how do you handle that? And then now as an adult, I handle being sick totally different. So today's table topics are on being sick. So, Mary, you were a nurse. How did you handle all this sickness?
Well, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. And how did I handle it? I was very regimented. I had rules and they had to obey them. And if you didn't follow the rules, then you didn't get treated. No, that's not right. What happened is there was no brouhaha, but everybody called me. What do I do with this? What do I do with that? So believe it or not, I'd take notes and I had a good handbook because I wasn't the doctor, but everybody called me for advice. But my children, they knew when they were sick, there were certain things that we had. And growing up, my grandmother made us feel good, and my mother, we had a hot toddy. And yes, it was tea with whiskey. And I continue that with my children. And we have a cold. I made a poultice. I should have invested with Vicks when I was younger, because that's what we had. We had Vicks all over us with my mother, and I did the same with my children. Of course, giving them the medicine, I stayed up all the time, set the clock so they could have their medicine. And my children still remember their Vicks poultice and putting it on. And we had a special Vicks undershirt that we would use so it wouldn't get on other clothing. So they knew that they would pull out the special Vicks undershirt if there was a cold. And we always washed the hands, and I used everything with bleach. I have a solution to this day of 1 to 10 with bleach. Long before COVID came, that's what I was doing to help prevent all the germs around. So follow my formula or I don't treat you. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Mary. And I love the smell of Vicks. And I will still use Vicks if I have a stuffy nose or a cough. And I have heard that if you have a cough, you actually can put Vicks on your feet. And then you put socks on your feet, and it's supposed to help you with that cough. So I'm a huge Vicks fan, and I love that. Okay. Hey, John. So you were in the military. How did you handle being sick in the military?
Madam Table Topics, I have a kind of amazing story for people to understand about being sick in the military. Towards the end of my career, I spent a lot of time on what I would say are really big ships. So the aircraft carrier I was on had 5,000 people on it. The big deck amphib that I commanded had over 3,500 people on it. A small fact that people don't realize on these ships is that every time you go on deployment, inevitably, the norovirus breaks out on board that ship during the transit over to whatever combat operations you're conducting. And inevitably, all 3,000 people break out with this sickness or illness throughout the entire ship. And this goes on for about 2.5 weeks until it burns itself out. So you probably hear about the norovirus breaking out on cruise liners and the decontamination, and they get everybody off and all that goes into it. But unfortunately, combatant ships, they need to continue on their way because they're needed into the area of hostilities.
Yeah.
And so you fight through it, both, from a, health perspective, from a crew perspective, and inevitably, you find your way out. And then at the end of your deployment, you do what we would say a hot turnover with the ship that's relieving you. So another aircraft carrier. And inevitably, as they're coming over to relieve you, they are sick with the norovirus. And so you stay as far away from each other. Matter of fact, I remember dropping off critical material that the follow-on carrier needed, and we literally left the material on their flight deck. No personnel actually saw each other. We did all of our turnover via VTC, even though we were less than 100 yards away from each other, just to prevent that illness from transiting from one ship to another. So quite an experience, one that I am very happy to have transitioned to a new life and do not have to experience again. So there you go.
That is fascinating, and I've always wondered that. Like, it must just go right through everybody. How do you keep it to yourself? You know? Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, Jean, you're a dad. You talk about your children quite a bit. What would you say is your care language? What's your go-to for when you had to take care of them when they were sick?
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. With 4 children, even down here in Texas, January, February, March were very trying months because one child would get sick, the next child would get sick, the next, so it would go all the way around. Then it would start again at the beginning. And it was like 3 months of constant illnesses. And then April would get here and we'd all get better. I tended to tell my kids, I don't care how bad you feel. It doesn't give you permission to be rude or mean. We are here to help you and comfort you and do what we can to make you feel better. But it's up to you to be nice to those around you, especially your brothers and sisters. It's so easy for a child to lash out when they're not feeling well. And I try to inculcate the concept of you still are expected to be polite and friendly to your siblings. So encouraging, comforting, but with a little bit of firmness there that there is still expectation. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Jean. Yeah, you can't be sick and be creating a brouhaha everywhere. You're just gonna have to suck it up and deal. But very good. Hey, Linda. So we both work in the health fields, holistic wellness and stuff like that. How do you handle sick clients?
That's such a thoughtful question. I handle them with care. They're fragile. Some people are wise enough to know that coming into a massage space where there are other people and lying on a massage table with your face up and breathing into your massage therapist's face is probably not a really good practice for the people around. However, my experience has been that when somebody is ill, I don't necessarily have to receive what they have to offer. Oh my goodness, there's the most lovely little cat on your shoulder. I thought it was a mouse, which is even worse than a sick client. So we do have options with wearing a mask ourselves or putting a mask on the client. But I find that simply relaxing my own body and helping a client's body to relax and to work with areas like the feet, can be therapeutic for both of us. And I do believe that there is an energetic system that operates through the work that I do. And I'm happy to help. Although I cannot say that I have received a lot of illness. So that's the way I work.
Very good. I hope no one shows up sick for you for the winter. Hey, Sharon,
Yes.
can you tell us about the first time you were sick all by yourself? When you had to handle it?
It's probably different. When I was a child and I got sick, I always went to my parents and they would rub my belly and it would help me to fall asleep and I was always better. My mother probably didn't like it, but a lot of nights would come in and climb in between the two of them so that one of them could rub my belly, not thinking anything more than that. But that's when I was little. As an adult, though, I tend to, when I get sick, I want to be left alone, want to get into bed, get covered up, and just sleep until I feel better. And it's probably been that way since I went to college. I guess in college you don't have anybody to help you, so you have to learn how to cope. And I would just get into bed. Luckily, knock on wood, I don't get sick all that often. Watch me just ruin that luck. But when I do, I have to be left alone. Whereas my husband, on the other hand, he has to let me know every single issue that happens. He had, I forget it, I think it was ehrlichiosis, which is like Lyme disease, but it actually attacks the red blood cells. And every time the parasite would go through the cycle, he'd get cold and then have chills. And every single time, Sharon, I'm cold. What should I do? Sharon, I'm hot. What should I do? And he did that the whole night through because of the cycle of the parasite. I was so happy when they gave him medicine to help him get better. But myself, leave me alone. I just want to get better on my own. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Sharon, and I think our husbands are very similar. So, Neil, you're going to time yourself there.
Neil, would you like me to time for you?
There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Neil, you always strike me as being a very rational, even-keeled kind of person. Has there ever been a situation where someone's sick or you're sick where you've gone into panic mode?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Most of you don't know that I am a doctor. I would like to, yes, I would
No,
like
I
to
didn't know that.
I would like to tell you how I became a doctor and my thoughts about the three schools of thought about medicine. Back in suit and tie at work days, a friend of mine had a baby. I went to see her in the hospital. There was an older couple in her room. I assumed they were her in-laws. I was about to introduce myself. They got up and they walked out. They saw their son, the father of the baby, out in the hall. And he said, "How come you left?" They said, "The doctor just came in." And they started calling me Dr. Corday. My parents would have been so proud. Now, as a medical professional, let me tell you about the three schools of thought regarding medicine. There is the medical school of thought, which means that when you're sick, you need to listen to your doctor, follow your doctor's advice, and take your medicine. There is also the folk remedy school of thought. Chicken soup, it really works. My girlfriend, Robin, makes a fantastic matzo ball soup. Even when I'm not sick, it's good. And finally, there is the folk remedy school of thought, which means that a lot of illness is caused by evil spirits. Mary mentioned the hot toddy. You need to ingest good spirits to fight off the evil spirits. For me, it's a nip of scotch. And I think that by following all three of these, you get the odds on your side. Madam Table Topics.
Good. May the odds be ever in your favor. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me on this journey through being sick, and I hope we all have a very uneventful winter with very little sickness. And back to you, Jean.
Thank you, Julia. Very entertaining. Neil, I have a similar set of issues. I go to a supermarket or a store. People come up to me and ask me where stuff is in the store. For some reason, I always look like I work at the store. I don't know why. Now it's time for the evaluation portion of our meeting. We'll turn it over to our general evaluator, Mary Consoli.
Thank you, Jean, Mr. Toastmaster. Yes, what a very fun meeting. We all have different experiences that we share. And one of the comments that my children and other people have made to me, Mom, yes, Ma, you're so bossy, and to see. And I said, well, to direct. And it stems from being in charge at night of an ICU, and most of my career, I was the only RN, and they had an LPN or aides under you. But I was in charge for 10 years of a 14-bed ICU. And I said, well, yes. And I said, and we had to have, every July, we had new residents. Well, yes, they were the doctor, but they knew. And half the time, they didn't know what they were doing. But they were very educable. But we had certain things they had to learn how to make decisions quickly. So we had to do that. Excuse me, someone's calling me. It goes right to my hearing aids. So that's why I became bossy. Because you had to direct these people, because if they didn't make a decision quickly enough, you've got people's lives in your hands. And this is what I try to tell my children. And they said, well, you're not at work now, but it's hard to change your personality, to do that and to move forward. So I just had to take my hearing aids out while the phone rang. It's interesting to have these Bluetooth operations when you have hearing devices. They're great and they're Wi-Fi and you can adjust the phones and everything, but everything goes into your ears and into your head. So it can be a little distracting. And now we'll go into our evaluation part of our meeting, which is always, I find, very worthwhile. And John, we'll start with our evaluation of our speech. John, you gave an excellent, well-organized, thought-out first speech as an icebreaker. Your introduction, wanted to get my notes. And I wanted to first start off with apologizing. As a mentor, I should have gone on to the agenda and realized that you needed an introduction, and to make that brought it to your attention. I feel responsible for that. I apologize. And
Mary, the introduction was in there. Don't worry.
To see. Well, that's all right. And I thought your opening was very creative. It was a fun way to begin and to identify yourself as the the penguin and who it is. And I thought you had made great analogies between the Navy and business. You're expert to the leader, and the point that you made it that you may be the smartest one in the room, but you eat alone. I thought that was very poignant and to see. And one of the things to improve on and to look in the next time is maybe to mention at the beginning that your the title of the company that you're working with, and that you're better about. And when you mention the name, the bridge method, it would have been good to pause because you went right on. And I think that would have been good to pause afterwards so we could get, the name of your the group or whoever, if you do this again. Now, you were a good thing to do is to go back and thank Linda. It's very nice that you give the recording to watch Sharon's speech and how she did 1, 2, and 3. Because one of the things is you gave 4 points, and that would have been good to have a little more hand gestures. And this is your first speech, and you did well. And one of the things that you can work on is uniting it back to an opening. That's why I said leadership bridges would be good. And I just have to think about at the end, you might have rushed it a bit, maybe because you thought you were getting to the time, and then just to space it out. And in the future, just to practice a little bit, because if you're bumping up to the time limit, then maybe think about eliminating some of the details in the beginning. But it was an amazing icebreaker speech, your first speech. You're really doing very, very well, as you have all encompassed your Toastmasters experience thus far. Well done, well done.
Thank you, Mary.
Now we'll go into our the general evaluation part of our meeting, and we'll do our role playing results. And the first one we'll call is our grammarian.
That would be me, Linda. The quality of our speeches is constantly improving, and we still have our favorites. That would be my phone. The first speech, John, your speech was a very well written speech, very nicely presented. I have a feeling that because you were reading, there were a couple of places where you had some stumbles, you had some hesitation, and this is why I think you're reading. I think you were looking for your place where you were in your speech. At one point, you had started off saying millions, and it was hundreds. So there were a couple of things like that, which goes to the point of practice. Most all of us could practice our speeches a bit more, and I'm so happy that you get to be part of the crowd. Julia, you started off your whatever you were doing, table topics, with so, which in colloquial speech is fine. We are a casual club, so that would be really good. And that was a connecting piece. You had a few stumbles. That would be the main thing that happened during your speaking time. You had a few stumbles. The one major grammar faux pas was you used different instead of differently. That's only because I was in the British school system that I would notice that, I'm sure. Sharon, you had a couple of stumbles. A few stumbles. We'll have to listen again. Mary, there were parts where you were so clean. And then you got to be the general evaluator. And you went into the and see, and I said, interspersed within the paragraphs of whatever you were saying, which also led to stumbles. And then you had your little hearing aid disturbance, of which I am totally sympathetic, but nevertheless, you did have it. There, well, that would pretty much cover it. Perhaps starting with an apology for a speech evaluation is not the most glamorous way to start, although the words were no doubt appreciated. So that is the evaluation part. Part of it was really good, and part of it was just plain spontaneous. Neil, of course, you're always just about perfect. I see no random notes stuck anywhere on your part. And Jean, considering your technical challenges, I would just say you've done really well. Have I covered it? That's it.
Thank you for a very concise report for our argumarian. Now we'll go to our timer. Who is the
Here we
timer?
go. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Evaluator. First, John's speech. John spoke for 4.5 minutes. Evaluating John was Mary. The guideline was 2 to 3 minutes. Mary spoke for 3.5. Table topics. Guideline is 1 to 2 minutes. Mary spoke for 2 minutes. John, 2.5 minutes. Jean, 1.08. Linda, 1.5. Sharon, 1:38. And I think, Sharon, you timed me. Was that right? Was it Sharon that time?
You were 1 minute and 52 seconds.
Thank you. And that is the end of the timer report. Madam Evaluator.
Thank you very much for a concise report. Now we'll go to our distinguished word master for our brouhaha report.
Her brouhaha report is not much of a brouhaha. Julia mentioned the word twice in context, and Mary at least once. And perhaps I have missed some other brouhaha. Oh, yes, and Jean. Brouhaha, I suggest that you observe the world around you and think of all the things you could label brouhaha.
Thank you all. I thought it was a very concise report. Now we'll go to see if we have any last minute reports or comments, because we know we have an officers meeting afterwards. And before I leave, I just wanted to thank our guest Sharon for attending again. It's always nice to have you. Now, who ever wants to make any comments or anything, I'll pass the gavel to you. Yeah, Sharon.
I just want to let everybody know that Linda was mentioning a couple things. November 3rd, which was yesterday, they had a pathways training. It was recorded, and you can go onto the website to get a copy of the recording. It basically was covering the new enhanced pathways, the new requirements that have been added to levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now meeting roles are required in order to complete a level for 1 and 2. And for 3, 4, and 5, there's meeting roles as well as educational modules that have to be completed. You also mentioned in regards to officer training. Officer training is from November 1st to February 28th. Right now, they're only offering, I believe, 5 sessions. The first one is this Saturday. There's another one, I think the 20th of November. There's 2 more in December. And then there's an in-person one in January, on January 17th. They're only 2 hours instead of 3, so they'll be a little bit shorter. They're all basically discussions. And because we talked about January 17th is going to be Jan Jam. It's a big deal. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's an in-person event that is free to all members. So check out the district website for what's happening and register so that you can come. It's limited space. And the only other thing to add is right now they're looking for presenters for the conference that's coming up on April 24th and 25th. So if you're interested in presenting at the conference, check the website and it will give you a link to the document with all the details and the application. Thank you, Mary.
I have a question for Sharon. Is officers training open to people who are not officers? Can people come because they're curious? Okay.
Yep, anyone can come. The officers only are required because of the requirement for officers to be trained, but anyone can go to them.
Okay.
I always recommend for people that are thinking about maybe being an officer to definitely go because you learn a lot at the officer training.
I'd like to make a comment if I may. I did attend the training last night. It was excellent and I highly recommend everybody going on to look at the video that was recorded. She was very concise, very to the point, and there was a lot of people that asked questions that were good just to review. And I thought it was good, and I did sign up for the training for November 20th. That's a evening one for 2 hours. So on January 17th, I'll be at my daughter's wedding, so I won't be at Jam Jam.
I think the wedding is a little bit more important than Jan Jam, but we will miss you. But it's going to be fun. A lot of stuff. If people would like to play Jeopardy, there's going to be a Jeopardy game and you could win a full free pass to the conference.
When and where is this? The Jam Jam?
Yeah, it's Saturday, January 17th, and it's at the Manchester Church of Christ. So it's in person. Lunch is served from 12 to 1. There's the officer training from 10 to 12. Lunch is served from 12 to 1 if you want to stay. And then from 1 to 4:30, there's Ted Cochran, who is a past international president, is going to give a keynote. And then there's a ton of fun stuff to do. Team building, Jeopardy, Jerry, and I don't know how to say Jerry's last name, but he has won numerous speech contests and gone on to compete at the higher levels, is going to do a presentation on evaluations, competing in speech contests. So there'll be a lot of fun things to do.
That sounds fun.
Of course. Yep. And it's all free. It doesn't cost but you do need to register. The church only allows us 80 people to attend. So definitely, and if we hit 80, there's going to be a free gift that's going to be given out.
Sharon, that's the church in what town, please?
I'm sorry?
The church is in what town?
Manchester, Connecticut.
Thank you.
And it's from 12 to 1 is lunch and 1 to 4:30 is Jan Jam.
Could you put the district's website in the chat so that people who aren't used to looking it up could look it up? I could have done that, but hey, it should come from you.
All right. So are we completed with our general evaluation, Mary?
Yeah, I'll turn it back. I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Table Topics. I probably should have done that before.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. And with that, I think we've drawn conclusion our meeting. We've had announcements and other comments. I'll open it one more time for any final words.
One of the final words that we have for the meeting, not to be confused with our officers meeting, is choosing our roles for next week. I'm wondering can I trust everyone to just, oh, I can go back to the agenda. Have we, and make sure that. Okay. So we do need a Toastmaster.
I
can
can be a
do it.
Toastmaster. Neil, you want to do it?
I
Sure.
can be Toastmaster, yes.
Very good.
I have to go on and see what roles I have to do for my levels.
Right.
I'll do Agramarian and Timer.
Julia will do grammarian. And
Linda,
timer.
I just signed up for Thought of the Day.
Timer is Julia. Thought of the day is, who said that?
John.
John, okay, great. You did a good job. You signed up yourself. Are there any other, and Jean is table topics. Sharon, did you want to play with us next week?
Let's open.
Okay.
Sure. Pick me into whatever you need.
Yeah.
Well, we have, I will read to you. We have a word master, we have speaker, we have general evaluator or speech evaluator. That's it.
I'll do Word.
I'll do general evaluator.
Great. Sharon is general evaluator and Mary is. Mary, I didn't hear what you said.
I'll do Word of the day.
Word of the day. Okay. Word master. And save. So what will still be available, and put Jeff back in for his. Great. Yes, we all should be looking at what our next speeches should be on and getting on with our evolving.
And I can do the same.
Yeah. All right, super. That's it. Is there? And so now we have 4 minutes till noon. We could close this meeting, take a short break, and then come back for our officers meeting, which isn't actually officers, it's business. It's like the main agenda item is what went well and what do we need to change, because we have a spring open house coming up and we can start making it perfect now. So all are invited to come back. I propose that we close the meeting for now and come back in 5 minutes.
Very good. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Linda. So let's call it a meeting and we'll see you all in 5 minutes.